What's up, guys? You know who it is. Let me turn my radio down here in a minute. Don't want to get copyrighted or whatever they call that. So today's video is about motorcycles. Let me grab the cut real quick, 'cause can't be showing that. Let me just lay that over here. Okay, so it's about motorcycles and kind of getting yourself, if you're going to be riding, whether it be a street bike or it's kind of cloudy here, whether it be a street bike or a sport bike, whatever the case may be, kind of getting yourself prepped and ready to go. What should you carry on your bike? So if you don't ride, it's probably not the video for you, but if you do ride a bike or an ATV or something like that, maybe this would be more or less, a duh moment or aha moment for you, depends on where you're at with it. But someone asked me to do it, and so I'm just answering a subscriber's comment. So I ride a 2007 Victory Hammer. It is a 100 cubic inch or whatever motor. It's the Freedom engine. It is dynoed. It is cammed. It is, what else do we have on this bike? It's got a power commander on it. Sounds pretty gnarly. I'll go ahead and fire it up real quick for you guys. So if you've never heard it, you can hear it. Oh, make sure that's off. Hang on a minute here. Oop, killed it. So she's a mean black machine. I call her Black Vicky. That's her name. And so what I've done is I've gone over my bike and I've determined what is likely to come loose or what is likely to need some type of a roadside repair. And I've gone around a bike and kind of figured that out. So the easiest way to do that is to look at the type of fasteners you have. In my case, with this bike, it is it's a US built bike. It's not a metric bike in terms of whether it be a Yamaha or something like that. So what you want to do is go around your bike and you want to figure out the types of fasteners that you have, right? So I know I have a lot of hex type sockets on there. And then you're going to see these, you're going to be like, oh, those things are huge, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So the easiest thing to do is go around your bike and just kind of figure out what size fasteners you have on what, right? So you just kind of go around and just say, okay, let me try a couple here and there and see what fits best, because a lot of these bikes, they kind of flip-flop around. I've heard buddies of mine say, okay, they've got some fasteners, I think even on Harley, some of them are metric, some of them are inch fractional or SAE. So you want to go around, get yourself a set of sockets and go around and figure out exactly what you got. That'd be the same thing for a Torx bit or a hex bit or your traditional cap screws or whatever you may have. Go around, figure out what sizes you need, and go from there. So what you would want to do then, once you know, okay, all right, these are the things that are likely to come loose. And what's going to come loose? I guess let's start there too. So you're not going to have your forks come loose. That doesn't ever happen. I check mine every couple months and it's never loose or anything like that. But what you will have come loose would be something like a mirror, a side mirror will come loose, or possibly maybe your throttle cable or your brake cable. Maybe a fender guard or something like that will come loose. I've had that happen. Just yesterday I was out with the boys and my turn signal light down there, which is tucked beneath the frame, it came off. So that it actually cracked. So I had to pull over by the roadside, had to get a knife, cut the line, tuck it in my cut, and then ride back home later that night. And this morning or whatever, I came out and wired it back up. And so we're all good to go now. But that was like a roadside, spare the moment type thing. We actually came up across two older guys. One of them was coming off a clover leaf, and he caught the outside lane a little bit too far, hit some gravel, wiped out in the road. And just so happened we were coming down the road, and we came upon them, and it was able to give them a little bit of assistance. But he had damaged his handlebars. He bent the handlebar. There's no roadside fix for that. You don't want to anyway, because they're not solid. They're hollowed, and if you pull too much, you can kink them and break them. So it is what it is when that happens. But some of the other things like busted lights and fenders and all that stuff, having like a good set of Phillips and a flathead would be a good thing to have on your bike. You can use the flathead for prying, and obviously the Phillips are going to be primarily what you're going to have on your bike anyway, but carrying both of them is going to be a good idea. And just having maybe a couple set of wrenches. So, something like a bolt like here on your exhaust may come loose or may start rattling. It's funny with these, even with street bikes, but more so with these cruisers, because their exhaust is so loud, and I've got a tuned exhaust on my bike. So what ends up happening is over time, the bike rattles and you hit bumps, etc., and all that kind of stuff, and you're getting on it. Things loosen up, right? So some bolts you probably want to put some blue Loctite on there and make sure they don't ever back out. But most of the time, these bolts don't have Loctite on them. So over time, they kind of rattle themselves a little bit loose, and then next thing you know, you've got a problem. One of my riding buddies, Sam, or Spaceman's as he goes by in the club, he's got a street bike, and we would never think that his bike would start to rattle loose, but he's lost clutch foot peg bolts. He's lost braking caliper bolts. He's lost a myriad of different things on that bike just on the road in the last few months that we've had to stop over, go to a hardware store and fix. And so even he learned very early on, maybe I should probably throw a set of tools in the back of my bike. So he carries a set of Allens, both metric and SAE. He also carries a screwdriver of Phillips, because that can take care of most of the stuff on his bike, and he's pretty good to go. One thing I learned last night, probably need to carry a knife. Luckily enough, we ran into another fellow rider, which is part of another chapter that we're with. And he happened to come over and just talk to us because he saw us and he saw our cuts. And so he actually had a knife on him. So that helped me out, because I was trying to cut the cord, but I didn't want to do too much damage. But I learned very quickly that I probably should have a knife on me if I'm going to be riding just to carry it. Now, I carry other stuff with me in terms of protection, but in terms of a roadside fix, that is, I should probably have a knife with me. So knowing your machine, walking around, kind of figuring what could possibly go wrong is one of those things you want to do. And it will help you out, kind of help you stay in advance, right? So how do you carry them? So obviously that bike doesn't have a saddlebag or nothing like that. I'm not that old yet, but I do have this pouch here. And so if I'm going to go for extended ride, this is something that I can affix to the front of my bike. It simply mounts like right here, and then I got more than enough storage room where I can carry a good amount of tools in there, whether it be, a couple screwdrivers, standard length type screwdrivers. So you can imagine if I had, what did I do with those hex bolts? So if I wanted to, I could probably take the whole thing if I wanted to, but I can put, a number of these in there. Obviously, I don't need all of them, but I can put enough of those in there. I can come over here. I can grab a couple of screwdrivers and say, okay, I need to carry a big flathead because, I want a prying tool. And then I carry a Phillips bit on there, and there you go. So I've got those in the bag, and I'll say, okay, well, what else do I'm probably going to need? Well, there's a possibility that, I may need to have an adjustable wrench, something like this that can cover a multitude of sizes on your bike. And I'll make sure that you've got something that can give you some leverage, because you don't want to be, on the side of the road already worrying about getting hit by a car, and you're fighting with the damn tool that you put in the bag that's supposed to be your saving grace, right? So something like this, I probably wouldn't carry it because it's too small. I would probably, because I'm not carrying a weight anyway, I would probably go with something a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can find it. I'd probably go with this guy here because it's a little bit bigger. This is from Right Tool. This is what their 6-inch, I think it is, 8-inch. It's an 8-inch adjustable wrench. This is going to be more than enough to cover different sizes on my bike, whether it be maybe like an engine bolt like here, or exhaust bolts or something like that to that effect. I can cover most things on my bike with this simple adjustable tool. Don't need to carry a full set of wrenches on you, right? So we toss that in there. Then I have this other little socket set. I bought this just for my motorcycle, even though I don't carry it on there as much as I should. But I got a bunch of different bits here, and these bits kind of pertain to what I could possibly need on my bike. So I've got my 6, I've got my 7s, I got my Torx, I've got a couple Phillips bits on there. And this is a pretty comprehensive, Harbor Freight has one from Icon. There's a lot of different companies that offer similarly setup of tools here, but I've got a couple of sockets all the way up to 13. And then if I wanted to, I could swap some of these out and put more sizes on there based upon what I'm going to need. But these are quarter drive things, right? And so if I had to, I've got a ratchet, I've got a bit driver, I got a screwdriver. This is a pretty comprehensive set. And the cool thing is, it's Weir, so it's German made, so it's good quality, and it will fit inside of my pouch, right? So I've got a couple screwdrivers, I've got adjustable wrench, I've got a set of sockets in there, and then obviously if I need to add a couple more sockets or whatever, if I want to go up in size depending on the bike that I'm riding, I could throw those in there as well, and I'd be fully covered and good to go. Having like a towel, it would be a good idea. So if you have like a little rag that you can put in there, it doesn't have to be as thick as that one, but throw that in there as well, because that's going to allow you to do some cleanup work. If you have issues with like grease, if maybe you run a bike that has a chain on it, maybe you want to throw a little bit of Molly Lube in there or something like that. If you suspect that you're going to probably need it or want to have it, I have some somewhere around here. I use Honda Lube. I think it's Honda. Uses this kind here, so I can carry this with me if I felt like I wanted it. You can order that stuff off of Amazon or eBay and get it pretty easily and pretty quickly. But that's stuff that I would carry in there. You may even want to carry, maybe you say, well, you know what, I'm going to an important event. Maybe I'm going to be traveling, maybe an hour or two on the bike, and I'm going to meet up with a couple guys. We're going to go out to dinner or whatever. And so if something happens, I want to make sure that I can handle it, but I don't want to get all dirty because I've got maybe 2 sets of clothing and I don't want to have dirt on my fingernails and all that kind of crap. Take a pair of gloves, throw them in there as well. So now you got a pair of gloves with you as well, kind of stay a little bit cleaner. You can get cleaned up when you make your arrival, but the important thing is making sure you make it there. One other thing would be to carry a light, right? So if you're going to be traveling at night and you're going to break down on the side of the road, it doesn't need to be anything super heavy or bulbous or whatever, but you want something that can kind of fit in your mouth. The reason why I say that is because if you're out there by yourself, you don't have anybody else to hold that light for you. So having a small enough light that you can hold in your mouth, you can do your work. Maybe you're on the side of the road and you want to make sure that people can see you. Where's my... It's in here somewhere. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Like, this is a great one to have because you can put it in your mouth. You can then turn it on, and it's bright enough. I mean, even in the daytime in my shop, you can see just how bright it is, but then you can hold it, and if you want to, you can flash it. You can do all kinds of things to kind of draw attention to you, but it's small, it's rechargeable, and a lot of bikes, you can buy a recharging cord that connects to your, I knocked over my taps here, my 3-threaders. You can buy a recharging cord that you can affix to your bike, and then you can actually recharge your devices like your cell phone and things of that nature. And so having a light that's rechargeable is really cool because once you've made your repairs, you can then charge it on the rest of your ride and carry about your way. And this is one here. This is one from Nebo. I've got a couple different modes on it, but it's nice and thin profile. It can fit in your pocket, fit in your cut, whatever the case may be. And also it is magnetic, and so you can kind of set that there and you can provide yourself, the ability to work and have light at the same time. So those are some of the tips, some of the things that I would carry. I mean, for you, it's going to be a case by case scenario. You're going to have to think about the bike that you're riding, what type of inherent issues you know you have. Think about things you might have. It's all being prepped, right? Just trying to be ready, because you can be riding in town or you can be riding out of town and something can happen, and you want to be prepared. Another thing that you may want to carry in your pouch or whatever on you is some electrical tape. Electrical tape can go a long way. And what I mean by that is not only can it make repairs to electrical wires, obviously, but if you have like maybe let's say you something broke on your bike and you want to tape it onto the bike to get you to the next repair point, so you can get off the side of the road, get to a parking lot. Well, wrapping a bunch of electrical tape around it is strong enough to hold things in place but get you off the road. So like if I had that yesterday, I probably could have affixed the turn signal somehow to the back of the seat, and I could have wrapped it up or whatever and made it to the next repair point. But I just did a quick, lop it off and call it a day. But having a little small tube, and you get these things, right? They're super big when you first grab them, but if you use them for a while, they get down to a third of their size. That makes it even better, and that's the point to kind of transition it over to your motorcycle, and so you can have a repair pack. A lot of guys will carry a full backpacks. I don't carry backpacks. It's just something we don't do in our club. So unless we're traveling like a long distance, and then we have road packs that go in the back of the bike, or over on the tank, whatever, depends on what we're carrying, etc. And so then that's something totally different. But, it's going to be one of those things everybody's going to have specific things that they want to carry. I'm just trying to get people to take a moment and think about some of the basic level tools that you're going to need. Screwdrivers, adjustable wrench, some tape, maybe a set of pliers, needle nose pliers. I mean, that's something we didn't really talk about. Having a small set of pliers could be very helpful. It doesn't have to be anything super big. Something like these old Protos would be great. You can get any brand, doesn't really matter. I just have specific brands that I have. Something like these Knipex ones, which have a hell of a bite on them. EDCs, these are part of my EDC carries, but they're small and they're compact. They can fit in your bag, won't take up a lot of space. That'll help out as well. So just kind of thinking about what you may want to carry in your bike will help you out. And you'll be amazed at how, because, like say for instance, you're on a ride, and I'll end this video here, but if you're on a ride, something happens, it's nothing more from a man's perspective. I don't know how it is about women, because I'm not a woman. But for a man to be able to encounter a problem, be able to stay calm, pull over, take care of the problem, assess the issue, correct the issue, and get things back up and rolling, whether it be just to simply get back on the road and get to the next checkpoint where he can then address the issue more thoroughly. That's a great feeling, especially when you're traveling on a long way. Being able to handle a problem at a moment's notice because you were prepared is a key component to being a man in my book. Being able to react in a calm manner, but at the same time be absolute and ready to rock and roll when the issue arises. That's what you want to try to do. So that's the kind of guy you want to be. That's the kind of guy you want from your kids as well, whether it be their boyfriends, your daughter's boyfriends, or whatever significant others. You want the people to be ready to rock and roll, especially if you're riding out on a motorcycle or an ATV or a snowmobile. Whatever the case may be prepared. So that's my video for today, guys. Just trying to kick some knowledge out there, because a subscriber asked for me to do a video like that, and so that's what I intended to do. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think about what I'm suggesting in terms of carry tools for your motorcycle rides. I would love to know if any of you guys ride, and if you do ride, let me know what kind of bike you ride. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.